Hi guys, so basically today we're going to handle the switching, routing and wireless essential, the final skills exam, the practical part, which is PTSA. So I'll click on it and I'll just click on the resume assessment, and I'm using the latest version of Packet Tracer. Just click that and open Packet Tracer executable, and I'll give it some time so that it can load and return to start the work. Okay guys, so everything has loaded, so we may begin our configuration. So this is the problem. As you can see, we have the physical topology on the right and the instruction on the left. So we have a topology here. As you can see, we have a router. I'll just need to expand this a bit, just a minute. So we have a router, and on this router it's connected to a switch, and this switch is connected to a switch on the right side and a PC, and the switch 2 is connected to PCB. Okay, and as you can see, there are two links connecting the switches. Alright, so guys, what I'll do is just start reading the instruction so that we can save time. So we have the VLAN table here. As you can see, we have VLAN 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, and the sub interfaces through which you will assign these VLAN numbers and the names of the VLAN. Okay, alright, and the addressing table, as you can see, for the router 1 and for the switches, the switch virtual interfaces of both the switches. Alright, so I'll proceed down. So what I'll do, I'll just minimize this bit. Okay, so SRWE final PT skill assessment. Okay, so a few things to keep in mind. So these are the instructions that you should read before you may begin the assessment. And now the assessment objective is to build a network, configure the initial settings, configure network infrastructure settings, and finally configure host support. Alright, so in the introduction says, in this skill, in this PTSA, you will configure the devices in a small network. You must configure a router, 2 switches and 2 PCs to support both IPv4 and IPv6 connectivity. Your router and switches must also be managed securely. You will configure inter-VLAN routing, DHCP server, EtherChannel, and port security. All of the tasks will be performed in PT physical mode. You will not be able to access the logical topology for this assessment. Network devices must be configured from a direct console connection. Very important. So instruction: move the required devices into the equipment rack, place the PCs on the table, connect the devices according to the topology. Okay, so we'll start with that one. So okay, so we're being required to place the devices, so the networking devices such as the router and the switch on the rack here. So I'll start with the router. So this is the router, and with the 2 switches. As you can see, we have 1 router here and the 2 switches, the 2 PCs. So I'll start with the router. I'll try to place this router on the rack. I'll place it up there. Okay, and the 2 switches, place them here. The remaining switch, that is switch 1, and there is switch 2. So let me put this here, and this one I'll take here, switch 1 somewhere there. Okay, so this is switch 2, switch 1, and router 1, and the PCs, PCA, put on the table as I have been advised to instruction. Okay, then we have an instruction here that says connect the devices according to the topology diagram. Okay, I'll do that very fast. So I'll try to maximize on the topology and take this down also, and check the topology. So the router, the first internet face of the router, which is gig 001, is connecting to first Ethernet 05 of switch 1. Okay, so I'll need to place switch 1 above. I'll need to place switch 1 there. Okay, so the first interface, which is gig 001 of the router, will connect to first Ethernet 05 of the switch 1. So which connection do we use? We use a straight through cable. Okay, so we check where the straight through cable is and we connect. Which interface of the router? Gig 001. So I'll try to check. So this is gig 001. Okay, that one. So just click, just hover after you pick the cable here, try to hover over those ports. Okay, and whenever you see it's written gig 001 like that one, just click it, then come to FA05 of the switch. Sorry, let me click it again. Okay, so it's clicked, so I come to FA05 of the switch. That's FA08, that one. Okay, and you click. Now it's connected. Right, so as you can see, this is gig 001 is connecting to first Ethernet 05 of the switch. As you can see, router 1 and switch 1. Okay, alright, so we proceed to connect switch 1 to PCA using which port? First Ethernet 06. So I just take a straight through cable here, let's scroll down a bit and connect to first Ethernet 06 of switch 1. So that is first Ethernet 06 of switch 1. You click it until it turns green like that one, and now you come to PCA. You connect to first Ethernet 0 of that of this one, first Ethernet 0 of PCA. Okay, so that's done. Okay, so we have some two connection between the two switches. So I'll start with from first Ethernet 01 of switch 1 to switch 2. Allow me to push it a little bit down. This one is up. So I'll check, and guys, you know, this is now a switch to a switch. Between a switch to a switch, we use crossover cable. Okay, we choose crossover cable. Okay, this one. Alright, so you choose which interface? First Ethernet 01 to first Ethernet 01 of switch 2. First Ethernet 01 to first Ethernet 01 of switch 2 and switch 1. So I come to first Ethernet 01 of switch 1. I click, and when it turns green, I go to first Ethernet 01 of switch 2. Okay, and I click. Good. Now I come to first Ethernet 02 of switch 1 to first Ethernet 02 of switch 2. Now I check where there is first Ethernet 02 until I find it. Just a minute. I'll click it again. First Ethernet 02. Yes, that one. Then you come to first Ethernet 02 of switch. Sorry, first Ethernet 02 of just try to go until you see. Okay, that one. Yes, that one. To first Ethernet 02 of switch 2. Click there. Sorry. Yes, that one. Now I click. So guys, I'll try to hover over these links so that I can see which connection which ports are they connected to. So let me start with this one, and it's connected to, as you can see, it is PCA. It's connected to first Ethernet 0, then switch 1, first Ethernet 06. Okay, that's according to the topology, it's correct. Then I come back to this one, is switch 1, first Ethernet 05, then to router 1, first Ethernet gigabit Ethernet 001, and then I come to these crossover cables. The first one is connected to switch 1, first Ethernet 01, another one is first Ethernet 01 for switch 2. Then there's another connection here, although they have overlapped themselves, but I don't know if you can see them. Okay, but I've connected all of them. First Ethernet 02 is not displaying here. There are two connections there, although as you can see, switch 2 and switch 1, first Ethernet 02 for switch 2 and first Ethernet 02 for switch 1. Okay, so let's proceed to configure the last one. First Ethernet 018 to PCB. So you choose straight through. Then you come to switch 2, which is first Ethernet 18 to switch B. Okay, so guys, we are done with the first part of the assessment, and now we may begin on the second part. We begin, which is to configure initial device settings. So step 1, configure R1 basic setting and device hardening. The first one is to prevent the router from attempting to resolve incorrectly entered command as domain names. Okay, so we're going to configure which command? Now IP domain lookup. So configure host name. We're going to configure banner MOTD. So let's begin. Router 1. We need to configure router 1. So this is router 1 here, and we've been asked to configure using console. So we're going to connect the console cable here to our PC and configure from the computer. So I'll just choose let me select the console cable. You come to console port of the router, and then you go to either of the PC. Let me take the second one there. Yes, so that's the second PC, and we need to configure the router from this PC here. Okay, so okay, the first thing, guys, as you can see, the PC is down. You know, the devices that have buttons, power button, like a router and the PCs, but the switches, they don't have any button. So for the button of a PC is here. As you can see, this one, this is a button. You just need to click it, okay, and open it. Then you come to terminal, and okay, so we're just waiting the router to, we've not turned on the router, so I'll proceed to turn on the router. We will not turn on the router. The router also has a button, and now it's let me try to enlarge it so that I can see the button. The router also has a button, so I'll try to enlarge it to check the button. Let me minimize it a bit. Okay, so here is our router here. So as you can see, this is the Cisco router that we just want to configure, and here is the button that this 0. As you can see, it's something like 1 and 0. Just click this 0, and now it's on. As you can see, the blue light. I'll just try to set it, okay, to its own size. Sorry. Now we can access it from this PC terminal, and you click OK, and as you can see, the router is booting. Meanwhile, let's turn on this PC also. You click on that button, and now everything is okay. So you click here, and now the router is ready to use. Enable config D. we've been asked to configure what? To prevent a router from attempting to resolve incorrectly entered command. So which command we use? No, IP domain lookup, and we hit enter. Then host name as R1, and another one we configure what do we configure? Banner MOTD, use any character, then insert the character. Let's say this is R1, this is the, let's say this is the main router, this is the main router. Okay, and hit enter, and then you proceed to part B, that says you configure password security. Configure console password and enable connections. Configure and enable secret password. Encrypt all clear passwords, and set the minimum length of newly created password to 10 characters. So I'll go back to our PC again to configure the router. What do you need to configure? Line console password. Let's get into the line console, and console 0, and password, let's say it's Cisco 123, just Cisco, like that. Let's proceed. Then authenticate the user, login. You exit the interface, and then we configure enable secret. So enable secret password, which is Cisco. Let's still use Cisco. And then encrypt all password. Which command do we use? We use service password encryption. Hit enter, and set minimum length to 10 characters. So we say security passwords, min length, minimal length 10. Okay, and we hit enter. And now part C, we need to configure SSH. How do we configure SSH? The first thing we configure host username and password. So username, let's say it's admin, and a password of admin1pass, admin1pass. Okay, as you can see here, and you hit let me check if it's correct. So they need an encrypted password, meaning now we will use secret. Let me try if secret can accept secret. Okay, admin1pass. So we say username admin, then secret, which is the encrypted password, secret admin1pass, then hit enter. Okay, now we configure the domain name of the router as Cisco, this one. Copy that one, then you come to PC here, you say IP domain name, I paste that, hit enter, and now ensure you create RSA crypto key. We just say crypto key generate RSA, and hit enter, and the modulus length is 1024 bits. Hit enter, and now guys, we log into line VTY. We enter into line VTY 0 to 15. Then we say login local, then we say transport input SSH, and we hit enter, exit, then we do right. Okay, so configure to only accept connection from SSH. That's what we've just done here. Transport input SSH, and the login local user database. So let's go to step 2, that needs us to configure router interfaces. Configure RSA R1 with the loopback interface. Configure the loopback 0 with the IPv4 according to the addressing table. Okay, configure router sub interfaces. Okay, so so we just go to the addressing table, which was here, and check the loopback interface of R1 or loopback interface. Okay, loopback 0. So we need to configure the loopback 0 with these addresses. Okay, alright, so I'll just click on it. So I'll click on it, and we've been told to configure the interface of loopback 0. Okay, so the loopback 0 interface, we are under a loopback 0 interface. Okay, so IP address should be 209. Let me just copy it. Copy that. So I'll paste, and then subnet mask of 255.255.255.0. No, not .0 /27 notation. That means 224. Okay, then you hit enter, and now we configure the IPv6 address. Just copy all of this, copy, and you come here and say IPv6 address, just paste, hit enter. Sorry, hit enter. You exclude this space here, there's no space there. Then you create a link local interface, which is always this one. Mostly I can just create it without copying that. So click on the PC, and I say IPv6 again for the link local. IPv6 address, it's always FA 80 2 colons 1. Then you say link local, hit enter, do right. Okay, so let's proceed. So we need to configure the router sub interfaces. Let's go up here. Okay, so we have how many sub interfaces? 1 2 3 4 5. .2, .3, .4 and .6. so there's no .5. Okay, so we need to create how many sub interfaces? 4. So let's start. Okay guys, so let's start to configure the sub interfaces of the router. So I'll begin with the first sub interface, which interface gig 0/0/1.2. okay, then you give it a encapsulation .1q for the VLAN number 2. Then we give it a description of, let's say this is for VLAN 2. okay, then you give it an IP address based on the addressing table here. So the IP address is IP address for IPv4. It's 110.19.8.1 with the subnet mask of /26 notation, which is 255.255.224. Yes, I think so. No, not 24, but 192, I think. 24, 128 plus 64, yes, 192. Okay, then we give it IPv6 address of this one, copy that, then we paste here, we eliminate this space here, hit enter, then we configure the link local, which is also IPv6 address, 2:1, then we say link local, hit enter. Okay, then we proceed to another sub interface, which is gig 001.3. so we start that, exit, so we say 1.3. the first thing we give it an encapsulation.1q3 for the VLAN ID, then we give it a description VLAN for VLAN 3, and then IP address should be 9.10.19.8.65/27. okay, so IP address should be 8.65/27/27 is equivalent to 24. okay, then for the IPv6 it should be, I'll copy that one, then I come and say IPv6 address, I paste this one, then I eliminate the space between them, then I hit enter. Another one is IPv6 for the link local address is then 2 columns, 1 is a link local, hit enter, we exit that interface, then we proceed to the other sub interface, which is dot 4. so dot 4 says let's try to retrieve dot 4. we give it an encapsulation.1q4, then a description of VLAN 4, then we start giving an IP address of 8.97 and subnet mask of /29 notation. /29 notation is equivalent to, let me calculate, 128 plus 64, that's 192, 192 plus 32, that's 224 plus 16, that's 240, 240 plus 8, 248, so 248, hit enter, good. Then IPv6, we give it an IPv6 of this one, copy, and we give it an IPv6 of, so IPv6 address, and paste that one, then this is a space here, we eliminate that space, hit enter. Another is for the link local IPv6 address, which is 080.1, then say link local, hit enter, exit. Okay, so we proceed to the last sub interface, which is dot 6, encapsulation.1q6, a description for VLAN 6. okay, and it doesn't have any IP address, so we just leave it at that point, exit, and do right. Okay, so guys, we have configured the sub interfaces here, and now prepare the router to configure the okay, use the addressing table on it should be configured IPv4. okay, addressing should be as okay, use the VLAN table to assign. okay, be sure to configure the native VLAN interface, configure description of all interfaces, and now there is only one that we want to say is this one. So this can be the native interface. Let me check it again. The native interface, we've been asked to configure the native. Okay guys, so sorry, this is the .6 is the native interface. So I'll go back to the router and say enter to that interface again. Sorry, yes, this one. Okay, and the description should be .1q VLAN 6, then we say native. Okay, then you hit enter. All right, so and we say here, we say description should be, just a minute, this is for native interfaces. So guys, exit, do right, and do show interfaces brief. Sorry, do show interfaces. That's a long one. Do show start. So just want to check on this. There we have the loopback interface here. Okay, and as you can see, we have the sub interfaces, these ones. Can you see them, all of these? Okay, so everything is going as planned. So let's go on, configure switch 1 and switch 2 with the basic settings. So let's start the configuration. We need to configure switch 1 and switch 2 with the basic settings. And you know guys, we are going to configure using console cable. So let me try to connect the switches to the PC and configure them. So I'll try to check where the console ports are. I'll take a console cable and okay, I think the console ports are on the rear side. So just right click on the switch and inspect rear, and here's the console port. Connect to the console port and take to this PC here. Okay, so this PC here is connected to this port here. This switch is connected to this PC using a console cable. So click on that PC here to configure the switch. Okay, as you can see, enable config T. All right, so let's start. Prevent switch from attempting to resolve incorrectly entered command. Okay, so I'll just place it there and start. I'll say no IP domain lookup for to disable the switch from attempting to resolve any incorrectly entered command. So host name should be this one. Switch, which switch is this one? Switch 1, that's switch 1. Host name should be switch 1, and then configure appropriate banner MOTD. I use a character like this, then inside the character this is switch 1. Hit enter, and then configure editing, console password, enable password, and service password encryption. So how to configure console password on the switch? We just enter the line first, line console 0, line console 0, not O. Then password, is it password or secret? Password, let's use Cisco. Then log in the user, you exit the interface, then enable with enable secret, let's say Cisco. Okay, then service, to encrypt all the password, use which command? Service password encryption. Hit enter. Okay, then you configure SSH on this switch. What do we do first? We just create username and a password. Username admin, and the password not encrypted but just a password, which is admin 1pass. That's okay. Then we create a domain name, IP domain name of this one. So I'll copy that one, come and paste here, and then we create crypto key generate RSA. a key modulus length of 1024. Alright, so let's enter the line VTY 0 to 15, 0 to 15, login local, then we say transport input SSH, exit, and do right. Ensure that the most secure is used. Okay, that we finished on switch 1. So let's proceed to switch 2 and connect it there. So we need to take out one spectrum, and we place it to which port for switch 2. Yes, so console port is on switch 2 from switch 1. What to do, guys, just right click it, you place it there, then you right click this one, you also place it there, and as you can see the connection is here, so just remove it and place there, and as you can see it's now here. And now we've configured switch 1. Let's configure switch 2. You just right click, you inspect area, you click here, inspect area, then you remove it there and you place it the other side. Okay, so let's access switch the other switch. Let's access the other switch, which is switch 2. Enable config T. The first command was to disable IP domain lookup, so we say no IP domain lookup. Domain lookup. Domain. I just wrote domain instead of domain. Domain lookup. That's okay. Then we never means hostname of, let's say this is switch 2. Okay, then we create which one? Banner MOTD, that one. Then inside this is switch 2. Okay, and then we create a console password line, console 0 password, let's say Cisco, and then first of all let me check something. Password Cisco, then we have to log in. You exit the interface, then enable secret, let's say Cisco again, and service password encryption to encrypt all the passwords. Hit enter, and then we configure SSH on switch 2. So we say username admin, and password to be admin 1 pass. Okay, all right, so we create the domain, IP domain name. I think I copied it. Hit enter, then crypto key generate RSA. Hit enter, then 1024 is the modulus length. Then we enter the line VTY 0 to 15. Okay, then we say login local, then transport input SSH, exit the interface and do right. Okay, so let me scroll down again. Okay, configure SVI on both switches. Use the information to dressing table to configure SVIs on switch 1 and switch 2 for the management VLAN. Configure the switch so that the SVI can be reached from other network over the management LAN. Okay, alright, so let's go up. Let's check the SVIs. Not there. So the SVIs are on the tables. Okay, so these are the SVIs. The first thing that we will configure switch 2 SVI, which has an IP address of this one, and default gateway of that one. Okay, so I'll just copy this one, and default gateway is .97 for both. So I'll just say interface VLAN 4. I'll give it description. This is interface VLAN 4. Okay, then we give it IP address of that one. Subnet mask of 255.255.255./29 basically is 248, I believe so, and you hit enter. Exit that interface. Then you make you configure the default gateway of the switch. Say IP default gateway to be this one, .97. Sorry, it's 10.19.8.97. okay, do right. So we've configured default gateway of this switch, okay, and the IP address of the interface for VLAN 4. Alright, so let's proceed to switch 1 to configure SVI. Remember, the console cable is on switch 2, so what I do, just right click, inspect rear. You right click, you inspect rear and remove this cable, plug it in there. Okay, so as you can see, this is our console cable. Then now you go here, go to terminal and click OK. So as you can see, we are in switch 1. So what to do, interface VLAN 4, and description, this is int VLAN 4, just a sketchy description. So give it IP address of 10 here, as you can see, 10.19.8.98. okay, subnet mask of 255.255.248/29 notation. Okay, alright, so I believe that is 98. You hit enter, then you exit this interface and you configure IP default gateway of the switch to be, let me just copy this one and change to 97, paste and change it to 97. Okay, and then do right. So we are done there, we are done configuring SVIs. So what's next? Let me just go down. So we need to configure network infrastructure settings such as VLAN, trunking and EtherChannel. So on switch 1 and switch 2, configure the following: configure VLANs and trunking. Okay, understand. Create the VLANs according to the VLAN table. Okay, alright, so the VLAN table, how many VLANs do we have here? Okay, we have 6 VLANs. We have 6 VLANs here, as you can see. VLAN. So guys, to make the work easier, I'll create a notepad and say VLAN 2. So the VLAN 2, we give it a name of bikes. We exit the interface, then copy, how many are they? 1, VLAN 3, VLAN 4, VLAN 5, and VLAN 6. So trikes, this is trikes, the other one is management. VLAN 4 is management, sorry, management. Parking, this is parking, and finally this is native VLAN. Native. Okay, so we've created VLANs. So these are command to create VLANs. Just write a VLAN 2 name, then you exit the interface, so on and so forth. So we just have to create a copy, then I'll need to put up this here and go to switch 2. Which switch is this one? Let me check the switch that we are on. We're in switch 1, just paste. Okay, VLAN 4, we have only VLAN 4 management. Okay, then let's proceed to switch 2. So inspect rear, take this one here and put it inside here, then come here, come to terminal, and okay, so paste this. Okay, so let's proceed. Create 802 trunks on this one and this one for switch 1. Create 802 VLAN trunks on ports FA01 and FA02 on switch. Then on switch 1, FA5 should also be configured as a trunk. Use VLAN 6 as the native VLAN. Okay, so FA06 on switch 1 should be trunk with the native VLAN of 6. Okay, so the first thing that we need to do is to configure this one as the trunk interfaces. So I'll just say interface range FA01 to 2, which port? Mode trunk. Okay, then exit, do right. Which switch is this? This is switch 2. So but it's only switch 1 that is connected to the router. Okay, so we've configured trunk interfaces on these 2 interfaces, which is FA01 to FA02. So I'll do this again. Inspect rear. I'll take this one to take to switch 1, come to switch to PC, then to terminal, and say interface range FA0/1 to 2, then switch port mode access. Sorry, trunk. Switch port trunk encapsulation I'm just doing something here, .1q. Okay, it's enabled by default, so we don't need to include it. It's enabled, so we only need to use this command to switch port mode trunk only. Okay, then we've been told on switch 1 FA05 should be a trunk, so let me enter that. Interface FA05, FA05, switch port mode trunk, switch port mode trunk. Okay, then switch port trunk native VLAN 6. Do right. So guys, I think we've configured what is required here. As you can see, should be configured as a trunk and uses VLAN 6 as the native VLAN. So switch port mode trunk, then switch port trunk native VLAN 6. Okay, so let's proceed to configure EtherChannel. Create EtherChannel between switch 1 and switch 2 on these interfaces. Both sides and should negotiate the LACP link. So we're going to use LACP protocol to configure the channel. LACP basically means link aggregation control protocol, which is a standard protocol. It can be used with any product, be it HP, Juniper, Huawei, etc, etc. So we're going to use the LACP protocol to configure the channel here. And you know, in LACP we have two modes. We have either active or passive. So if we configure them as passive, either channel will not be formed. But if we configure it as passive active, it will be formed. Also, if we configure active, they will be formed. So we've been told to both ends should be able to negotiate. So the only mode that will negotiate is an active mode. So both ends should be in active mode. How do we configure either channel? Let's start from switch. This is switch 1. So interface range FA0/1 to 2. Then you say channel group. Let's say this channel group 1 mode active. Okay, we exit, then we enter that interface port channel 1. Okay, then we make it to be trunk, switch port mode trunk, exit and do right. We've configured either channel on switch 1. So let's go to switch 2 to configure either channel. Okay, so we just take this on here and place there. Come to PC terminal and here. So let's configure either channel here. So interface range FA0/1 to 2 channel group 1 mode active. Okay, then exit the interfaces, then interface port channel, now the logical channel, switch port mode trunk, exit, do right. Okay, so what else again? So we configured either channel on both the switches. We've configured either channel on both the switches. So configure switch ports on switch 1. Configure the port that is connected to the host with static access mode in VLAN 2. Okay, so on switch 1, configure the port that is connected to the host with the static access mode of VLAN 2. So which port is that on switch 1? So on switch 1, FA06. So FA06 should access VLAN 2 here. So let's go to switch 1. Let me check if this is switch 1. No, this is switch 2. And there's also for switch 2 here. So let me finish with switch 2 first. For switch 2, as you can see here, FA018. Okay, so I go to switch 2 and I say interface FA0/18 switch port mode access, then switch port access VLAN, which one? VLAN 3. Okay, do right. So again, anything that I can configure on switch 2 before I go to switch 3. Configure port security on switch 1 and switch 2 active to only 3 landmark address. Okay, so assign all unused port on VLAN 5 to VLAN 5. Let me finish with the first part before we can move to part C. what do? We just inspect rear, and you take this one, you place there. Sorry, inspect rear, take that one and you place there. Okay, click on the PC terminal and okay. So we are in switch 1, and as you can see, link protocol interface port channel 1 change to state. So do show EtherChannel. As you can see, we have only group 1, 2 ports with the LACP protocol. Okay, alright, so let's configure. FA06 as access port with the VLAN ID of 2. So interface FA0/6, switch port mode, access, then switch port, access VLAN 2. Do right. Okay, so let's go to part C that says configure port security on switch 1 and switch 2 active access port to accept only 3 landmark address. So guys, the only active ports here is only this one that is connecting to host devices on switch 1. So we are still on that interface of interface FA0/6. Then we say switch port security, then switch port security, maximum. How many MAC address? Only three MAC addresses. So just say 3 and you hit enter. Then switch port security, let's say a violation mode for additional violation mode of shutdown. Then how do they learn MAC address? Through a sticky command. Switch port security, MAC address, sticky. Okay, hit enter, do right. Okay, so I'll just take it again. So guys, we've been asked to configure port security on the active port. So on switch 1, the active port is this one, FA0/6. So to accept only 3 MAC addresses, so the first command that you use, you enter that interface first, then you issue this command, switch port security, then switch port security, the maximum number of addresses 3, then the violation mode of shutdown, then a sticky command to obtain the MAC address. Assigned all unused ports to VLAN 5 on both switches and shut the ports down. Configure the descriptions on the unused port that is relevant to their status. Okay, so let's configure that one first before we move to switch 2. Exit. Remember, we only used how many ports here? How many ports have been used here? 05 to 06 and 01 to 02. So guys, we just say interface range FA0/3 to 4, they are not used, comma, then FA0/7 to 24. Remember, switches have 24 ports. Okay, but before that, let me just check if they have any gigabit Ethernet ports. Do show start gigabit Ethernet ports. They have how many? 2 gigabit Ethernet ports. Let me check if they are here. Yeah, they are here. Okay, and they are not used. Okay, so I'll just say interface range, the ports that have not been used as FA0/3 to 4, then also FA0/7 to 24, comma, then also gig 0/1 to 2. Okay, description, unused ports. Okay, then switch port mode access, then switch port access VLAN 5 here, VLAN 5. Okay, VLAN 5, then shut down, exit, do right. So let's continue to do that on switch 2. Right click, inspect rear, right click, inspect rear, take this one, place it there. Okay, so let's proceed to switch 2. The first thing that we must do to switch 2 is to configure port security on first Ethernet 18 that is connected to the host, the active port. So I'll just try to that one. We say switch port security, then switch port security, maximum of 3 MAC addresses, then switch port security, violation mode of shutdown, then switch port security, MAC address should be obtained through sticky command, hit enter. Okay, so let's proceed to assigning VLAN number to all the unused ports. So as you can see on this switch 2, we have only used 3 ports, which is FA1, FA2 and FA18. So I'll just say exit this one first, interface range FA0/32. So it's FA0/3 to 17, then we pass 18, then also FA0/19 to 24. Remember, we've just passed number 18, right? 3 to 17, then 19 to 24. Then also the 2 gigabit Ethernet ports, 0/1 to 2. Very simple range. Then you say description of unused ports, switch port mode access, then switch port access VLAN 5. Another thing that we need to do there, let me check. We need to shut them down, the single VLAN 5, then shut down, exit, do right. Okay, right, so let's proceed down, configure host support. So we are done with the configuration of the switches. So we need to configure part 4. We need to configure host support, configure default routing on R1, configure an IPv4 default routing that uses loopback as the exit interface, configure IPv6 default routing that uses loopback interface as the exit interfaces. Okay, so basically that's very easy. We proceeded to router 1. So router 1 was connected to this PC here through that console cable. So proceed to router 1 terminal, hit enter, enable, config T, Cisco. Okay, so config T. So we need to configure default routing that uses this one as an interface. Okay, right. So default routing is always just say IP route 0.0.0.0. That's any IP address 40 with any subnet mask .0.0.0 with any subnet mask. Okay, should you switch interface or the exit interface is a loopback 0. Okay, default route without gateway if it's okay, it's fine. Then another one is to configure default route of using IPv6. So we did, that's pretty much simple. Just say IPv6 route 2 colons then /0 should use loopback 0. Okay, that's okay, do that. Okay, so let's check the next step 2. Configure IPv4 DHCP for VLAN 2 on router 1. Create a DHCP pool called CCNA copy that contain at least 10 hosts that consist of the last 10 host addresses in the VLAN 2 subnets only. Okay, so VLAN 2, let me check on the table first. VLAN 2 had a so gig 002 was assigned to, so it's pretty much okay. I know what you're gonna do. Just start service, just enable the service DHCP, then IP DHCP pool, we just copy that one, then network. For VLAN 2, the network was this one, as you can see, that one, I believe to it was connected to VLAN 2 is connected to which interface? This one. Okay, so you just come to where the interfaces are and check this is the network now .0. So the network should be 10.19.8.0, subnet mask of 255.255.255./26 notation is equivalent to 1 and 2. Okay, default router should be the IP address of this interface, which is 192.1 10.19.8.1. okay, then you exit the interface and you exclude the range of IP addresses that will be configured here. So basically, guys, as we've been told to create a DHCP pool called this one consists of the last 10 host addresses. Okay, so considering there's a subnet mask, basically means there will be only 62 host addresses in the network. So to exclude to only have 10 usable, we must exclude 52. Right, so what we'll do, we'll just say this command IP DHCP excluded addresses. So we'll exclude from .1 to to 52. So when it begins from 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 63 to 52. Yes, so meaning this range will not be assigned to any host address. Okay, so that only will satisfy this statement, the last host addresses, meaning from the first host address to the 52nd host address will not be assigned to any host device. Hit enter. Okay, all right, So we've not configured the domain name. I'll just copy this domain name. I've not configured the domain name. I'll just copy that domain name and say IP DHCP pool that one, domain name, hit enter, exit, do right. Can we give it a description? Let me check. Description. It doesn't have any description, so exit. Alright, no problem. So let's proceed to the second one. So create IP DHCP for VLAN 3. Okay, I'll create that consists of B. So this is CCNA B pool, that is called that one. So another pool will be called, come to this PC. Another pool will be IP DHCP pool B. Okay, then a network of for this one 10 dot this one here 19.65 19.8.65 subnet mask of 255.255.225.224/27 notation, and you hit enter. Then default router should be, I think I'm wrong somewhere. This one should not be a network. This is an IP address. So the network will be here 64. Okay, so default router will be 10.19.8.65. now the IP address of this interface, hit enter, and domain name to be that one. No, it should be CCNA -b.net. Okay, so what's remaining here? To execute address, is there any? Yes, we need to execute the address here. So /27 notation basically means we'll have how many host devices in the network? 30, 32, 30. Yes, 30. So if we exclude the 10, when we exclude 20, we'll have only 10 host addresses available. So we need to exclude I mean. So IP DHCP exclude address, IP DHCP. Sorry, we need to exit this interface. IP DHCP excluded address. So we need to start excluding from this one. Copy, paste, 2. To when we had how many here? When we had 20 here, it will be 85. Yes, till 85. Now 85 minus. Let me just calculate, guys. It will be 80. I had 1984, 86. So the total addresses will be 96 will be there. 95, so 94, 84. Yes. And if I come up here, I think I don't know if I made a from 1 to 52. Is it really? Okay, no problem. Let me just assume that. Okay, so do right. Another thing that you can do for that pool, nothing. So let me proceed down to see what's next. Configure host devices for this one. Statically assign IPv6 to the host devices. So I'll click on this host device. I come to this one and say DHCP. Then I come to this host. I close this one and I say DHCP. Okay, so a pipeline used. Just a minute. I think there's a problem. Let's configure IPv6 on the routers. Statically assign IPv6 on the based on the addressing table. So I'll copy this one to assign to which PC. Let me just go up a little bit. Copy to PCA. So we copy that one, then we change to 2 or 3, then here should be 64, and the port gateway should be that one. Okay, then we move to the other one, which is copy that, come to this PC, and then we paste that one here. Take here 64. Now here we make around 3. Then here we paste that one IPv6 address, and successfully they have obtained IPv4 address. So I'll go here, and as you can see, they have obtained IPv4 address. So basically, guys, I think we are done. So guys, as you can see, we've scored 80%. This is not a bad grade, but we've already tried. Okay, so thank you so much for watching this video. Please, if you have not subscribed to our channel, do us that favor, click on the subscribe button, like our video, and let's know what you're thinking on the comment section. Bye, and see you again in the next video. Thank you.